questions to ask throughout a campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch alongs to the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
We're fucked.
Oh man, we got to take our wins when we can, man. We got to make the good times last. But guys, welcome back to TACT-EAGLE, the show we talk about tactics and how we're going to lose on Saturday. As always, I'm joined here with my co-host Dan. How's it going?
Yep, all good. Bit later today because I was at work today, but I actually got home a lot later than normal last night. Didn't get home till about 7:45. Was a bit annoyed, obviously, because getting home late from work obviously is never great. But then I started watching the game and I wish I'd stayed at work. So,
well,
how are you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm okay. I got even though I am not the oldest guy in the world, granted, but so one of the kids that are here was watching The Simpsons and he looked at it and he went, oh, "It's the guy from Fortnite."
What? I'm not gonna lie, I don't get that reference.
Basically, we know Homer Simpson as Homer Simpson, isn't it?
Yeah.
But because he's in the game that they play, which is called Fortnite, he thinks that character is from the game, not the other way around.
You know what? Honest, I played Fortnite, but I didn't even know that he was in Fortnite.
Oh man! But let's just recap yesterday very briefly.
Do we have to?
Well, I think you summed it up perfectly, but I feel like we need to at least say that there are some takeaways from that game. I think one is definitely that Ratsaki's not ready.
I mean,
we've been saying it for me and you've been saying it for a while. He needs a championship loan before we even try and play him in a Premier League style game. But
yeah, no, 100%. I mean, he even looked like I'm not like it's not his fault at all. Like I'm not gonna sit here and slate him. Like I think he will come good eventually, but like as it stands right now, he's not ready for the PL. And to me, honestly, I thought that was pretty obvious. Even when we went to go watch the PSV, us versus PSV in that under-21 final. I mean, I appreciate he come back from a full season, was probably a bit leggy. But then also I went up to Barnet and watched us play up at Barnet. He didn't look particularly ready then either. Like, it's just... And for him, I just, without going on too much for a tangent, like, I just feel sorry for him because I feel like he's making up the numbers. But the problem is, I think he's just going to damage his confidence. And I think if there's ever an example of how just throwing a youngster in can actually be negative, this is the example.
Oh, 100%. Because Wan-Bissaka was a 1 in a million, really.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And people need to understand that every player that we throw in is not going to end up like Wan-Bissaka.
Exactly. And to be honest, we've had other examples of that in the recent past. Like Brandon Pierrick was another one who was the hype and never came to. There was another guy, I'm sure, as well. I'm not saying...
Like if we go back a bit further, I know Kai was exactly the same, and now I don't know if he even plays football anymore.
He does. I think he's in like League 2, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, but other than that, we know that Roy basically said we're binning off the cup because of our injuries, and hopefully that we're going to look like a whole new team when coming into the league game. I saw IU's press conference after the game said that because we've lost in the cup, it makes us want to win even more in the league game, which I guess, it's good to hear because he was our captain yesterday, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's glad to hear that they want to win more. I mean, I do genuinely believe had Roy had the players that he would like to have had, I do think he would have gone for it a bit more. But I think at the end of it, I mean, personally, if it was me, I would have prioritised the cup game over the league game, to be honest. Just because I feel like the league, we are going to finish near enough a similar place as before. I don't think there's any real danger of being relegated this season. I mean, I know the cup's obviously a lot harder to think, but win this game, win yesterday, you're in the quarterfinal. Maybe get a bit of luck, you're in a semi-final, and and then you've got you at least you're in a semi-final. Do you know what I mean? There's a bit of excitement.
Yeah, and also with the Carabao Cup, it's all done and dusted within the year, whereas the FA Cup drags on for a really long time and there's more rounds.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think the Carabao Cup finish. Well, I know there's a big gap between the semi-final and the final. The final's like January, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe, it's January, isn't it? And then the FA Cup, third round starts in January, and then obviously goes on for until June. I think they play in June nowadays.
Yeah. Before we go into actually delve into the game properly, let's go into the comments quickly. Big up Coach's Corner saying yes, lads. Chairman saying big up. Day is liking how we started the stream saying Joker. We're in a relegation battle together. I'm sure this is Hanno, and he's a Chelsea fan, but Chelsea are a whole different story. And Chairman here says we'd find some talent and passion before Saturday.
Unfortunately, Sean Derry's gone to Wolves, hasn't he?
Yeah, what was Sean or Wolves are Passion FC now? Yeah,
Passion FC, passion.
Yeah, passion and angry cardio man.
Talking a little bit about Chelsea very quickly, I actually ended up putting a bet on to get relegated. The odds were too good. I was like, a fiver. Come on, that's fine. I can deal.
What was the return if it comes through?
Well, it really depends on the bookies. So I got Bet365, and I think their odds aren't great. So it's only 50-1, but for Paddy Power it's 150-1.
Might need to make a Paddy Power account.
Do you know what I mean? Obviously they're not going to get relegated, but you never know.
For the sake of a fiver to win a lot of money, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, let's go into our predicted 11s. So let's do it. Okay, let me show my screen up here. So, here we go. So, I'll run you through Man United's injuries very quickly. So, they've got Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, Maino, Maguire, Malacia, Martinez, but apparently he'll be back. Mason Mount is now back. Anthony, Jadon Sancho, and Amad Diallo are all injured. So,
is Mount? I didn't realise Mount and Martinez were back. All right, fair enough.
Mount played the first half in the game. He got taken off precaution. He may be injured again, but I'm going off. If he's starting, I reckon he's probably well enough to play in this game as well. And Martinez should be back. So, for example, I've gone for a Man United starting 11 of Onana with Amrabat at left back, as he played there pretty well, to be fair, yesterday, with Martinez and Lindelof as the other centre backs, with Amad Diallo at the right back position, with Casemiro, Mason Mount, and Christian Eriksen in midfield, and up front we've got Bruno Fernandes in the 10 with Marcus Rashford and Rasmus Højlund as the strikers. Dan, what are you thinking about their lineup?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't watch first half of yesterday, so I didn't know Mount was back. Martinez, I didn't know was back. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair enough. Only argument I could make is maybe McTominay over Eriksen, but either or.
Cool. Going back to us, we've got in goal, we've got Sam Johnstone, because Dean Henderson got injured himself in the game after 3 kicks, I believe.
17 minutes.
Yeah, so that is... So we didn't even get £1 million a minute for him.
Oh, and that's not including his wages.
apparently he's actually the highest earner at Palace now. I don't know if you saw that article.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
mental.
yeah, a couple people on Twitter told me before that, and I'm just anyway. That's another rant for another
Yeah,
day.
that is a rant for the Man United preview. That's what that one is. But yeah, John Stone in goal, who's probably our better goalkeeper anyway, with Mitchell, Gay, Anderson, and Ward at the back, with Will Hughes and Chet Doucouré in the 6th position, with Ebere Eze, Jeff Schlapp, Jordan Ayew, and JP up front. It's basically the team we played yesterday, with Eze starting and Gay and Anderson starting. It's basically exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, JP played the full 90, I believe. Schlapp nearly played the full 90.
Yeah.
Doucouré played the full 90, I believe. I think Hughes got subbed off late into the game. But so these guys are probably knackered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then the thing is,
Hodgson can't do anything else.
Yeah, I mean, what else do we do? I mean, I've just seen Mukhtar saying that HAMMOND is back. I mean, I guess maybe that adds something, but to be honest, like he would be the only one. And obviously, we know Hodgson hasn't really given him very many minutes, but I mean, we got so little options that we got Mateta on the pitch there and Mateta on the bench, and that's how little we've got. Do you know what I mean? Hodgson can't even do his thing of putting 2 goalkeepers on the bench now because Henderson's injured.
You know what he's probably going to do? He's probably going to call Whitworth to make the bloody journey all the way up there to sit on the bench.
Literally, like just but yeah, I don't really know what to do or what to say. Like how can we even change it a little bit? Like I said, the only thing
we ain't got any players to change it with, really, do we?
Well, that's it. I mean, who was on the bench? I mean, I know we have Riedewald, but I know Riedewald played yesterday. I mean, I don't think he's that good personally. I know he had a good game yesterday, but I don't think he's that good. And also, where he's not in a position that we're particularly bad at the moment. If anything, that's probably one of our okay points at the moment. I mean, up front, who's after Mateta? Ola Adebayo, has he ever played in the senior team? I don't think he has.
No.
I don't think he's even been on the bench for a Carabao Cup game before. So before yesterday. So
Hodgson, I feel sorry for Hodgson. He's got absolutely nothing he can do, really.
This is it. And the problem as well is that, okay, maybe for the Fulham game, at least we could kind of say, well, he's got Mateta to bring on. Obviously, Mateta came on and did nothing. But, there was something to bring on. But even now, I mean, who does he realistically bring on? Holding and Richards aren't going to do anything, not in terms of an attacking sense anyway. It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just tough, isn't it? There's not really much we can talk about. Let's go into the. I'll do the attack. I'll do how. What should I do? How Man United could kill us, or how we could potentially not die. That's really it, isn't it? Is how would they slap us around 5-0, or how can we get out of it with a 1-0 loss?
The annoying thing, I think, and obviously, people say ifs, buts, and whatevers, but I do genuinely think, even if we had just Lerma, Elise, and Eddie available, let's say just those 3 of the other ones, whatever, I actually think I'd actually be disappointed not to come away with something on Saturday. Because I don't think Man United played very well this season. Okay, yeah, they played well yesterday, but that was against a really terrible our side. And I think they're very exploitable as well. Pretty much every game they've had this season, they've been exploited by every team in some way at some point. So,
100%. I'll kick us off today, and I'll probably go with how we could defend against Man United, because I think
Go for it.
If we talk about them first, and maybe talk about us will be a little bit less painful afterwards.
Yeah.
Here we go. So, obviously, because of the recent injuries, and I had this all set up from last week, because there are some players in here for Man United that are currently probably not going to play or injured, such as
Sauce.
So that was McTominay. So
Yeah.
I knew that some Man United fans watching this wouldn't have been very happy about that. Like, for example, Reguilon injured, Wan-Bissaka injured.
Yeah.
So imagine that's Amrabat and Dalot probably. But Dalot is a very stubborn old man in his way of playing, and if he doesn't play the way he wants, then the whole team falls apart, or he has another falling out with one of his players. So basically, whenever Man United have the ball, they are, I wouldn't say they're all out attack, but it's not far off. So, for example, from that formation that we showed in the predicted lineup, obviously you got Casemiro and McSauce, there probably is the sixes as the covers. But then when they're in possession of the ball, they sort of, one drops into the back line and the other one sort of picks up the space sort of in the middle of the park. They play more sort of like, what is it, like a 3-1-6? It's really stupid.
Yeah, that's pretty much what. Yeah, I agree.
And to me, it looks really stupid, but with the players that Erik ten Hag wants to bring in, how it works at Ajax, it clearly works in European football. I feel like Ten Hag probably needs to adapt his playing style just a little bit to suit the Premier League, because obviously the Dutch league and the Premier League are just two completely different beasts. So you can't really, it's not really like a one size doesn't fit all when it comes to football. Everything needs to change, bearing in mind of like the culture and the way the game is played in different countries. But because of that, they are exploitable. But we can talk about that when we're talking about how we attack. But basically, the pivotal man in this whole team is Casemiro. I think this season so far, he's probably next to. I know he's not far behind Rodri when it comes to successful progressive passes, because literally all of their passing is based off of this one man. He'll pick up the ball from the centre backs, he'll turn, and he'll either ping a long ball or someone from the front will draw back and give him some help. So, for example, let me get a ball. It'll probably be easier to explain. So, we saw it yesterday. Man United love to recycle the ball. So, this ball will be popping around here. They'll pop it inside, come straight back, and just keep recycling it until they get an opening. We normally set up in this block, whether it be a 4-4-2 or a 4-4-1-1 like this, doesn't really matter. This method of how they will build up play would still work either way. So let's say, just to make it easier for you guys to see, let's say we're in a 4-4-2 sort of defending. Casemiro will drop, make himself very open to a pass. He's got lots of options. What would also happen here is someone will come short. So, for example, in this situation, Eriksen will come short, and you've got an overload of players here. So you've always got a man extra. So if we try and initiate a press, we're 2 against 5. It's almost impossible to get the ball. We commit this way, he switches it here, and they've got a free pass out wide. So here is how Erik ten Hag's system would work very well. Eriksen will come short, either the ball come here, they pop it to Aaron, easy out wide. We know how he is when he's got the ball, because even though Man United fans said he's not good attacking, we know that's just false, because when he was with us, he was taking on fullbacks, putting good crosses in the box. But so we know what kind of a player we can get there. But this whole move, Eriksen could, for example, he'll pop it out there, make the run in here, Wan-Bissaka will give it back and bang it straight in the box. Højlund is a bit of a weird one. He's just come into Man United for a hell of a lot of money. He's a young guy. He looks like and sounds like a rip-off of Haaland. But I think with just how his movement is and how he's very mobile for someone as big as him, I think he's always going to be a threat to a team like us. Because even though we know Mark and Anderson are brilliant when it comes to being centre-backs, being strong, being good in the air, I think it comes to a point where if you're the size and the speed of someone like Haaland, that forward will just get through the defenders. We saw it with Haaland last season, didn't we? When was it Wardy and Anderson were both trying to muscle him off, but Haaland just ran straight through the middle of them and scored.
Yeah.
But long story short, with them, it's very sort of like a wave. Like some players will just stay forwards, but other ones will draw back. We can press out and step up. The second we do that, they'll spin and run in behind. That's sort of the general ethos of how they would play. You could see that with some of the arrows that I've got here. So, for example, Aaron could be the one that drops. And then if the ball goes out to Lindelof, for example, we press here, we move here. Aaron makes that run, pings it here. These two players, no man's land. You take out two players with one run. And this will happen across the whole of the pitch. Reguilon can do it. Ericsson will do it. Bruno does it a lot. And even Casemiro's good enough dribbling. He'll just pick up the ball and run forwards and then pick a good pass. One thing is that Rashford has been rested for this game, in my opinion. Didn't feature at all yesterday. And what he does is Rashford loves the half space in between the lines. He will ghost between the lines and sort of be a pain for defenders to pick up. So he'll just pop up in between the line. That ball will go straight in, and he's very good at getting a one-time shot away. So they are very dangerous when in retention of the ball. They've also got players to hit us on the break as well, because Højlund's very fast. Rashford's very fast. Bruno's not the fastest, but he's incredible at passing. So they can hit us when they've got possession of the ball and when they're on the break. Another thing that I'll talk about before I finish is Onana. If you're not shooting at Onana, like us on yesterday, you're being stupid. Because he's a goalkeeper that cannot use his hands, but he can use his feet. So in reality, there's no point pressing him if he's got the ball at his feet, because he will literally either dribble it past you or just pass it past you. He's probably going to be their main instigator of wide passes. So always expect to switch when it comes to Onana. And even, he could put a through ball in. I'm sure that there was a chance that Rashford missed not long ago where Onana drop kicks it, Rashford running behind and basically had a free shot on goal. So they've got a lot of variation to what they can do, which is probably our worst nightmare.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one thing I think that would be a big worry for us is the counter attack, because people forget people credit De Zerbi with like baiting presses and stuff like that. Well, Ten Hag was before De Zerbi in terms of like trying to build attacks from the back, in that sense where you kind of like not bait them in, but you kind of suck them in high up the pitch, and then that leaves loads of space behind, and then you spring the attack. Ten Hag was doing that at Ajax like years ago. So he was like one of the original proponents of that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. It's very similar to how Emery sort of plays as Villa. Like you sort of slow it down. If there's space in behind, bang, go.
Yeah, 100%. And I think what are you going to talk about how we mitigate against them yesterday, or how we will mitigate against their attack later? Or
no, you can do that one.
Yeah, sure.
I've got how we can beat it.
What, their attack?
Yeah.
Sweet.
If they commit forwards, I've got a way of us going around it. It's very simple, but it did work yesterday.
All right, fair. Well, the only thing I was going to say in terms of like their attack is that something that Burnley did really, really well was let me just share my screen really quickly. So like, yeah, so whoever these players were, one thing I noticed they did really well was that, so for example, they kind of like set up like that with the ball sort of over here. What Burnley did really, really well, I thought, was that because, like you said, Onana's really good with the ball. When the Burnley players were like this high up the pitch, let's say, right? So let's just put the 4-4-2 like that or whatever it is. When the Burnley players were this high up the pitch, Onana was like included in the build-up, if that makes sense. So Onana was like effectively like another player. So what they did was they allowed Man United that space a little bit, and they kind of just dropped back to like kind of basically like a mid-block, really. It's a bit risky in the sense that obviously, you know, you got players like Rashford who can run in behind and stuff. But what it meant was that Onana was back here because obviously he's not going to come that far out his goal. But what it meant was that they were easier to press because they're a bit more like this or whatever it was. Onana wasn't included in it, so they let him have that space. And then the only two defenders actually in that build-up are now just Lindelof and Everett or whoever the centre-backs are. Whereas when they were pushed all the way back here, that Onana is basically like another one. And that's kind of one thing I noticed that Burnley did really well. And they didn't get sucked in either. Like when the ball went back to Onana, they didn't then continue doing their press. They just kept to their guns, stayed at like this kind of way. And then that was it. They didn't get sucked in. And I think if you get sucked in, of all the games I've watched this season, at least in terms of the chances that I've watched, a lot of the Man United ones were from that kind of when you get sucked in and then they.
Yeah, because if we're up too high, Onana basically acts as another centre back. So it's another passing option. Whereas as you said, if he's a bit further behind, it's a bit harder to pass back. Yeah, like if you're in a line of your centre backs, it's easier to pass. But if goalkeepers a mile behind you, it's harder to get there. We saw that with how Ward messed up that back pass.
Yeah,
against Villa. So it can be done. Obviously, they'll probably do something similar to us when we were in possession of the ball.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I think I did see it a few times, especially because the Burnley one was the game that I actually watched in full. And the amount of times it got forced back to Onana and he just lumped it long. And to be honest, Højlund, to me, doesn't strike as someone who's particularly good in the air. And he's not dealing with those types of just long pinged balls up to him. It's literally like when Eddie had to deal with that and we all berate him for being rubbish. It's exactly the same thing. Like, it's just, that's what he looked like to me in the Burnley game anyway.
All right. Well, I think we talked about Man United enough. So let's talk about us. Let's talk about how potentially we could get something out of this game. So I've got a way of beating this press. It's so simple, and really there wasn't much analysis going on when I was obviously doing all my lines and stuff. So if you guys like the color pink, then you're gonna love this one I'm gonna show you. But this worked yesterday, even though we done it only a few times. It works purely because of the formation that they play and the fact that they just push everyone forwards when they're in attack. And it's basically bang it long.
Bang it. You say, you know what? To be fair though, I'm not thinking like Route 1 per se, but yeah, the amount of space that they leave behind is just crazy.
So basically this probably looks like absolute throw up on the screen right now, but I'll walk you through it. With this weird formation, with their 6 up front, 5 up front, whatever the hell it is, stick to your guns and go man for man on one of the on them. It's gonna be tough, as every game against Man United is, and everyone's gonna be on their game because everyone's gonna pick up someone individually. But because, put it this way, almost every single one of their players, apart from 4, minus the goalkeeper, is in this portion of the pitch. If we got an easy route out, i.e., if they're all pressing up high and Eze drops into some space, John Stone's more than good enough to pick him up in that space. We've seen him pick up Mitchell out wide out here in many games when he's found some space, and then, Mitchell does what he does and passes back. But if Eze can pick up this space, he's got how much space? Probably this, maybe even more space to actually run into and do something.
Mm-hmm.
So Eze could, because the thing is Eze's such a good player, he can do a lot of things. He could pick up the ball and drive with it for a long way. We've seen him do that against Sheffield United and Man United as well. He can drift out wide, create an overload out here, so Lindelof will be in a 2v1 situation. Eze could hit a ball to Ayew down here. This was meant to be Edouard, but because it's Mateta, I don't really think that Mateta's going to make that kind of darting run. So I'm just not going to talk about that whatsoever. And there's no point. Actually, let me just delete this line because Schlupp's going to pass straight back. So that pass to Schlupp is worthless. But you say not route 1, but I think that route 1 is probably the best way around this. Obviously, Anderson is going to be our main guy, so they're probably going to put 2 men on to press him. But if they put 2 men on to press one guy, it leaves someone else free. Decore can hit a good pass. Gay can hit good passes. So as long as they're smart with their pressing and they don't go too rash, because bear in mind, Højlund's very young. I was hoping you picked that one up. But Højlund's very young. And I'm not saying that he's going to lose his head if he's going to be running around headlessly as we're passing the ball around. But there could be a point where someone in this team gets a bit lazy and doesn't press as Ten Hag wants for the whole 90. Then you've got free space. Route 1, route 1, route 1. And it worked. It worked yesterday. Even though it didn't happen very much, the times when Holding picked up the ball, took a touch, stepped forwards, literally broke straight through that 6 up front line, and he had the opportunity to pass it anywhere. Bear in mind the time that Holding done it, I think he tried to pass it to Ayew, but the pass was so crap that that Casemiro intercepted it. I think that Richard's done it as well, and he actually got the pass to JP, and JP recycled the ball when we went straight back to the goalkeeper again. But still, the fact that we got the ball all the way up the pitch, basically into their half with one pass, with Gay and Anderson, that are both much more comfortable with the ball at their feet, much better at passing out from the back than the 2 that we played. And the 2 that we played had success from it, with players that have a lot more quality. And to be fair, probably with those few extra quality in the team, everyone else will raise their game as well. I think there is ways around this game. I think there are ways that we can score, but I still don't think it's enough, unfortunately. They are there for the taking.
Yeah.
Don't have the players to do so.
Yeah, no, sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I've got some similar thoughts. I just thought I'd just do some comments first. So, big up Jungle. Thank you for tuning in. Big up Earth. Thank you for tuning in as always. Thank you. We're gonna get humped again. You know what? I don't think the display will be as bad as last night personally, and I think partially what Earth is saying here is maybe one of the reasons. I think we'll have a much stronger lineup. I do think maybe United will maybe think it's a bit easier now, but yeah, we'll see. Big up Luke. Big up Brush. Wind up Bruno. Well, we ran out Casemiro once. Let's go for Bruno.
Well, Hughesy's wound up Casemiro enough to choke him. Anderson's wound up Nunes to headbutt him. So, who's next?
Let's get the set. If we play long ball, we have to play 2 strikers. I think, honestly, that's one option. I think it's important to have several strings to our bow. Because if you just do the same thing every time, it's just too predictable and it's too boring, and like it's easy to defend. So I think that the having one up front, having what JC was saying about like going route 1, I think is a good idea. Also as well, I think Man United just have an issue with defending.
Just in general.
Yeah, like. For example, okay, look, let me bang out some stats for you because I am STATMAN Dan after all. So for example, okay, Man United in terms of their expect non-penalty expected goals, they rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They rank the 6th worst in the league so far. Okay. 6th worst. The only teams that have conceded on average more expected goals per night, so therefore either more or better quality chances, are Fulham, West Ham, Wolves, Bournemouth, and Sheffield United. Obviously, not the best company to really be keeping. And it's the same with the expected goals per shot. So they don't necessarily concede loads of shots per se. I mean, they do, but they also concede relatively high quality chances. The only teams that concede higher quality chances per shot, so on average of the shot taken, is Villa, Brighton, and Fulham. Brighton and Aston Villa, we both know are very open teams that like to attack, so that makes sense. And Fulham, I mean, how we only got a point against them, I don't know. Not in terms of the actual game itself, we were terrible, but really we should be beating Fulham really. So as you can tell, they're not exactly defensively sound. And one stat that I thought was quite interesting was they actually concede the most. So a shot creating action is basically the 2 things before a shot is taken. So that could be a pass, it could be a dribble, it could be a foul, could be an interception, anything like that. They actually concede the most take-ons that become shots in the league. They concede. So basically what that means is that when their opponents have a shot, within the 2 shots before that, one of them is a dribble or a take-on, as they call it. And they concede the most of those in the league, 2.6 per game, apparently. So that's obviously quite a lot. And that got me thinking, okay, why? And obviously it's good as well for us because we got players who do like to dribble. Well, we got Eze.
It's a good thing that he dribbles a lot then.
Yeah, and maybe even HAMMOND is a good shout. And to be fair to him, Ayew as well does like to dribble. It's a shame we haven't got Eddie playing because when he turns, he is able to dribble as well. But yeah, so let me just get some examples out first. So I went through the games and I took some examples. I'm not going to do the Arsenal ones because people are like, oh, well, you know, Arsenal are much better than us, which is true. So I'm going to start with the Burnley game. So just bear with me one sec. Sorry. So these are all chances. So what I did was basically I just went and looked at all the chances that Man United conceded during these games, and then just fast forwarded it to it basically. So this is what I got. So let me do window. Okay, so this was by Sanderberg. So this is actually something that we haven't mentioned yet, but defensively, some set pieces, they're not very good, I don't think. JC, you're going to love this. Oh, ooh. What are they marking there, JC? They're marking space.
Zonal marking.
Oh, no.
Zonal marking. This is, I can't say it. This is bollocks.
We're past 9 o'clock. It's fine.
I hate, and we're 40 minutes in. I hate zonal marking. It just doesn't work when it comes to set pieces.
Yeah, but they love it. I mean, they do a little bit of man marking. Like, as you can see, they got the 3 players here.
Yeah,
But they
3-on-3, but then other than that...
But they don't do it very well because Sarnaberg literally runs there and then gets a direct header onto the goal. He misses it because he jumps a bit too early. But still, like, there's not really much more to say about that picture. But yeah, zone marking. I think we could get an opportunity there. This was Larson. So what happened on this one? So yeah, so just watch how Burnley manipulate the space a little bit and how the Man United players start. So they basically, so they're in like a defense, right? They're in their defensive kind of phase. Blah blah. Hang on a minute. Why is that like that? So all he does is go bang like that. Just one ball over the top. Larson's through. Larson ends up getting the ball in this position, right? There's one pass, literally one pass, and that was it. One pass. Now, if you're a bit smarter, I mean, he ends up having a shot like that. Well, not as wobbly as that. But you know, if your players are a bit more on the ball and say this player's, you know, made that run through here.
If he's ahead of Dallo there, he's still onside.
Yeah, exactly.
The back line is wonky.
Yeah, exactly. That's what, and that's a consistent thing that I saw. So that was one of Burnley's chances. And bear in mind, Burnley are third bottom of the league, right? A lot of people are saying that they're going to go back down. So, you know, so this was another one. I don't know what's happened here, but yeah. So basically, they've got the ball in this kind of phase again. This, I don't know, like I feel like their defense isn't very good. This is what I meant about they just. And all of these stats make sense in how like they just don't. It's a very simple.
No one's
pass.
really pressuring the ball, are they?
No, literally all they do. So this ball ends up going to 21. I don't know who that is. All 25 does is just peel off. That's what I mean. Like these kind of like secondary runs, Man United are really prone to. So like these kind of secondary runs, where you know, one person's making a run who's receiving the pass. And then another person's making a run at the same time in anticipation that this person gets the ball. And then this player here then ends up in a good position, which they do. So as you can see here, 21 just pulls back a little bit. This player here, I don't know who it is. I think it's Lindelof, doesn't track 25 because I think he presuming that 35 is tracking him. I don't know. And then literally all they do, that pass comes through. This player's then obviously got to block it. I don't know if there was a Burnley player over here, which has caused this player to stay over here. I don't know. I can't remember. But as you can tell, this player receives a ball. This player's got to block this shot or try and block the player. These players are not going to do anything. What you got to do is one little pass there, bang, and that's it. And they actually hit the inside of the woodwork from that goal. From that.
Something about that support and run is. Even though we don't have players that do that very often, I have seen that when we do switch to that, I guess, 3 at the back formation and put Mitchell up at midfield, even though Mitchell don't do much up high, he does make that run all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like, definitely.
Because I think it was in the Fulham game, he actually dragged Castagna away, which allowed Eze to have his shot. You know, that one shot that we had all game.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he dragged Castagna away to give him space to actually open up his body and have a shot. So making these runs or decoy runs, have you will, like we've been doing it a lot more lately. And if that's something they're prone to, then
100%,
it's got to be a good thing for us, no?
And again, like this is like Burnley do have some good players. Like, I'm not going to sit here and slag them off, but. I mean, they are third bottom of the table at the end of the day. I mean, I know they've also had some hard games, but what I'm trying to say is like they're not. It's not like I've picked.
They're not pushovers.
No, but I mean, as in like I haven't picked like when they've played Man City and like Man City are just really good. Do you know what I mean? Like I picked a team that we can easily replicate. Like by all intents and purposes, this could be say Will Hughes, this or even Decore. This could be Mateta. And we know Mateta, or Ebbs, and then maybe that's Mateta making the run, or vice versa, because we've seen them do that. And maybe that's Tyron Mitchell. Maybe this is, I don't know, Jeff Schlupp. I
It's
mean,
definitely Schlapp. He's playing in midfield.
Well, exactly. So, you know, that's what I mean. Like, this situation is replicable. And like I said, this player ended up hitting the inside of the post. So it's very nearly 1-0 to Burnley. So that's Burnley. And then I just want to rifle through the Wolves chances. So at the beginning of the season, the Wolves played them as well. So yeah, there's quite a few. I won't spend too long on these. But again, so what you were saying about how they've only got 4 players back. Their rest defense is literally 4 players. You got the 3 at the back, and then Casemiro. Maybe they might have another midfielder who's popped back a little bit or something like that, whatever. But they've come up, right? I don't know what they've done, but they've messed it up. This player here, I can't remember who that is. I think it's Lamina. Wins the ball. I think that's Lamina.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What? 6 players are up on the field there, or 7.
Yeah. And then I don't know who this player is, and I think that's McSauce.
Whoa!
But literally all he does, this player runs here. This player tries to tackle him. Okay, he then dodges that, goes over here, and then in that position, he could either pass to this player you can just make out here, or what he actually ends up doing is actually doing another. To be fair, it's good play. Ends up dodging another tackle. But I mean, they're not. It wasn't any particular bit of trickery. Like, he's just kicking it into space at the end of the day. But then they're away. Like, as you can see here, I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember who.
I think that's Lindelof and Varane.
But no, it's because it's basically a 3-on-1, as you can see here. So 3-on-2, sorry. Again, 3-on-2. I mean, that's covered relatively well. But again, that ball can go there. That ball can go there. Eventually, ends up coming to Hwang, and then he ends up having a shot from here. But that is a very bad situation to be in, as you can tell. And this is what I mean. It's just like they're not great, and this is why it frustrates me that Eddie and Elise and Lerma to maybe slightly lesser degree in this particular situation are injured, because I think with Elise, Ed, and Eddie up front, I think I'd be disappointed not to get someone from this game. This is another one. So this was Lamina, I think. But again, it's the same thing. All they've done is come through here. Lamina's received the ball here. They've got 2 runners here, but these players are so slow to react to them. You know, you've just got to pop the ball out there. Then again, 3-on-2. So now this player's got. When I say 3-on-2, I mean like this player here, because these 3 aren't doing anything, and Wan-Bissaka's too far away. Although that'll be Dallo on Saturday, I imagine. So this player's got the choice here. I think it's Neto. He's got a choice here of going to, I think that's Semedo, or ends up popping it inside, going through the middle, and then again another shot. But this player here, I think that's Hwang. If Hwang's a bit further up, again, that's another flash across the goal that could be a chance. So, and again, this is Wolves. Like, this isn't like this isn't against Arsenal or City or anyone like that. This is against Wolves. And again, this situation looks very similar. Wolves at the back, they've won the ball. All they've done is turn around, run at United. This player's come inside here. Oh no, sorry, apologies. This was the one where he comes inside like that. Apologies, but similar thing. They've run
Cunha though, right? And then he left.
Oh, I can't remember.
But then again, though, this could be replicated by Eze. We've seen.
Well, yeah, or even Decore. Decore can do that. To be honest, even Will Hughes could probably do that. If I'm to be honest, like given where they are on the pitch, Check or Hughes, I think, could quite easily do that. And then all he's done is actually go there, and he's taken out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I don't know if there's someone down here. So at least 5 players. And then again, they're just on the break, and there you go. Like, got 4 Wolves players. I think you just got to be a bit brave. And the thing that's going to frustrate me is that we're going to say all these things about being brave and like
We're
having
not going to
players
do
to
it.
make. Well, yeah, this is the thing that's going to frustrate me.
I've got a perfect 2 screenshots that perfectly encompasses being brave.
Yeah, and then all you've got to do again. So these are the second ones. So what this player does, I think that's Neto, comes through here. This player, and then obviously McSauce then has to follow him, and then this player just continues their run here. So then eventually they're all inside, like not knowing what they're doing. Oh, look at that! Space is opened. Ends up crossing it back in because look at that, right? Look at the space they've got there. And then to be
He's
fair to
even taking a
Onana,
touch as well.
yeah, I think he does. I can't remember if he does, but Onana ends up saving it. And to be fair, it's a good save. And then the final one I've got is who's this? This is Fabio Silva. So yeah. So again, Wolves have got it deep. Nothing particularly troubling at all, really. This is literally the simplest thing. So all he's done is pop the ball in here. So this could be Gay to this player here. They then passed it back. And then, so this could be Ebbs, for example. Pass it back. Turn the player.
He just lifts it over the top, doesn't he?
That's it. Literally goes in. And that's literally just, like I said, that could be literally Gay and Ebbs. Gay could pass that to Ebbs. Ebbs
Or
pass
even
it back.
Anderson and Ayew. Like,
yeah, exactly, on the same side. And then it spins them. Acres of space. And then, again, look how far behind their midfield is. Like, just look how far. So effectively, you've got. I mean, okay, like let's include Amrabat in that. You've got 3 Wolves. Well, by the time the cross comes in, I suppose it's 3 and 3, which in a crossing situation, again, is not personally as a defender. It's not somewhere I'd want to be. So yeah, it ends up crossing it in. It ends up coming to Fabio Silva, but then to be fair, it's good defending because I think the shot gets blocked. But yeah, but that's exactly it. So when we're talking about playing long and stuff like that, I think the fact that they leave so much space in behind means that there's so many ways we can play, whether it is route one, whether it is like what's his name? Bielsa used to give the third, I think it's called a third runner or something like that. I can't remember what he calls it, but that's what I mean. Like those runs where the 2 players run, but one runs with anticipation that the other player who's got the ball then gives it to them and they're in a good position. That's like what I think will tell them apart. And if you got them running back to goal on a counter attack, their midfield just seems to be nowhere near their defense, and they're just so easily carved open. And that's why those defensive stats that I was talking about earlier, that's why they are like they are. And to be honest, that's why the take on, like the shot creating actions that are take-ons, that's why I think that's so high, because teams can just counter them and just run with the ball and run into so much space, and that's how they concede chances.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd like to go back to when you said being brave, because I feel like they be brave because when they go forward, they commit so many players forwards. I feel like if we can get around that and intercept it, then we have to be brave in return. If they've committed everyone forwards, we have to commit more than we normally do forwards to make the overloads to maybe score the goals.
Yeah.
And I say that because I've got some screenshots here as well. So this is literally yesterday. So I believe this situation, Mitchell had the ball, passed it into Gyro, of all people, who picked up the ball, turned, and basically ran. He was about here when he started and ran through here.
Yeah.
Not saying that he's the best player in the world.
Yeah. But then
he still picked up the ball and made space.
Yeah, but then that's just good proof. I mean, that's pretty much a very similar situation to what we've just seen with what Wolves did.
Yeah, exactly. And this is Gyro. We know he's not the best player in the world. But look, so exactly what we said. Look at how far their midfield are behind. We've got Eze going. We've got, I think that's Jez at the time. We've got JP going. Ayew's about to go. So we've got, what, 5? 5 on 4? here. And really, we played badly in this game. But I want to go back to Gyro. So we've seen that Gyro's got this. He's found space to go forwards into.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at the same situation in the same game, but another player that is going to start in this game. Number 15, Jeffrey Schlupp. We see here that Schlupp has got so much space. He could drive this way. He could drive this way. He could even just pass it straight forwards, couldn't he?
Mm.
I'll
Pass it back, didn't he?
I'll give you three guesses, Dan, of what happens. Schlupp picks up the ball and he drives forwards.
Not that
Option
one.
B is Schlupp picks up the ball and passes it forwards.
Not that one.
Option C, he holds onto the ball for so long that this player and this player actually try and tackle him. He shrugs them off and passes back to Klein. A, B, or C, mate? Who wants to be a millionaire?
You know what? If this is a £1 million question, it's one of the easiest questions of all time.
But I rest my case, really. Like, this is a prime opportunity for someone like him, who, I say this, when he wants to be, he can pick up the ball from here and almost dribble the ball all the way into their net. But he'll do that once every 3 months.
Yeah. The thing is, though, like I've seen it, like he did that towards the end of last season in the midfield three, so I just don't get why.
Yeah. Other things, love Richards, but this should have been a penalty.
Yeah. I did see the replay, and that one. People say it was like the Villa one, but I don't know.
No, that is a penalty. He takes out he takes out the leg, and look, the ball's all the way over here, and he takes out the leg here. So this is a penalty all day. Clearly, Karma came back because I'm sure that they scored from this exact corner that he gave away.
Oh, I'd lost interest by that point.
And remember what we said about how they are pretty dreadful when attacking or defending in set pieces. Look at our defending in set pieces. I'm not trying to call this guy out, but it just happens to be that it's always this guy. Like, what is this? It's just comical, isn't it?
If I speak.
It's just comical.
Yeah. I mean, it's so like I said earlier. For me, this game is quite frustrating because I feel like if we had Lerma, Eddie, and Elise weren't injured, like I think Elise was actually originally meant to be back for this game, before he got the recent setback. I actually think like I said, I would have been disappointed to lose on Saturday. Because I just feel like Man United are so exploitable, and for us, it's just the worst time. Like it's the worst time to have played them. It's annoying because it's the worst time for us to play them, but it's the best time to play them, or one of the best times.
Here is a time where I was showing how they press, and obviously this is a De Zerbi team who sort of do Brighton's tactic against them. They draw them in, and then they go over the top and go in behind. But what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players are up this high. And we know that a Brighton team is very mobile and very active. These 3 players are extremely close. So I'm sure that if the ball goes here, the ball to Lamptey's on. I'm sure that Solly March is probably off the screen up here. If they press high, they're like Villa. Whereas if you use their own tactic against them, they're vulnerable. So if you draw them in, and then you use someone's passing like Anderson to go straight over the top, you can cut out all of this basically and just go straight behind. But obviously, as you said, if you try and do that too much, it won't work. This is basically the outcome of this first situation.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember watching
Basically,
this. Yeah,
they passed
yeah.
back. The ball went out here. Welbeck came in behind. Ball to there. He ran on. Welbeck passed it back again, and then basically Welbeck made a beeline for the goal.
Yeah.
And being in the box against Manchester United at Old Trafford and having that much space in the box, right on the penalty spot, pretty much,
Yeah.
it was almost impossible for him to miss. But the fact that still no one's really pressuring the ball, he's looking at the runner. He's in no man's land. McSauce is doing what he does best. Varane's basically stood still. Don't know who that is, and what is this guy doing over here?
Yeah.
So they're very exploitable on the break.
Oh, 100%. And that, they say that gap, that was something I noticed. I didn't go through the Arsenal ones, but yeah, the amount of space that if you were, say, I don't know, Shek Decore, if you kind of stood in the D on the box, oh, you'd have loads of space. If your teammate managed to get to like the byline-ish kind of area, you'd have loads of space. You said that was a cutback. That was a cutback, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then I think Erdegaard's goal against Man United, same thing. Cut back to the D, another goal.
Yeah. What happened here?
He to be fair, it's good skill by Gross, and like he gets the ball.
He sort of popped it back here, didn't he?
Yeah, he receives the ball, and then like he does a nice like little feint. To be fair, he's good skill, like a nice little feint. And then just does two of their players basically,
and then bare space again, and then whack.
That's what I mean. Like that kind of area is just it's nuts.
This one I had it in here just because I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Iwoni's in, faint shot.
Yeah.
Anana sits himself down, and he basically just slots it here.
You know, I didn't realize how quick he was. So I watched that. Yeah, I watched that goal back, and he, to be fair, he's rapid. Like we don't have anyone that quick.
He's got the burns on, but still, if you get him behind, which is not the hardest thing in the world to do against Man United, the goalkeeper will commit himself early. He's done it in every single time that he's been 1-on-1. He commits early. So if you have the composure and the state of mind, just take a touch, just fake your shot.
Yeah,
he'll sit himself down.
100%. 100%.
So, you know, that I wouldn't say that that's a guaranteed way of scoring, but you know, it's something that could definitely help us if we find ourselves in that kind of situation.
Definitely.
But finally, mate, after all of that talking, what is your score prediction?
Based on the team that's available, I think it's going to be a really hard game to get anything out of. I don't think it's going to be as embarrassing. Not embarrassing, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as yesterday. But I don't think we're going to win. I'm going to go for Man United to win 1-0. Unfortunately,
I would say Man United win 2-0.
Yeah,
that's probably what I'd go for.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But to be honest, yeah, as long as we don't get sucked in, do kind of like what Burnley did, force it back to Onana as much as we can without like fully committing ourselves too much. Yeah, let him lump it long, and then hit him on the counter or something, and just use that space behind.
And also, one thing we need to remember is we are Crystal Palace, and when we're down, out, and dead, we'll somehow pull out a win against someone you would never expect.
That is true. That is true.
Isn't it? Like we've seen it before. We were absolutely dog. We were awful. Everyone was injured.
Yeah.
And then we go and beat Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're thinking, where does this come from?
100%.
So that is always a factor with Crystal Palace, isn't it? It's you expect the worst.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, something incredible happens. So let's hope that's one of these games. But I don't have much hope.
Nah. But me and Rich will be waking up I'll be waking up at 5 a.m. And we'll be getting a lift up there, and we'll be doing a lovely vlog.
All I would say, mate, is when you do the vlog, make sure you've got a lot of filler content just in case the game is dreadful.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know if we'll go to a pub before or whatever. I don't know.
It's going to be weird. It's going to be the first vlog that we've done that I'm not doing.
Oh yeah, true.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, should be good.
But otherwise, guys, we've got this is actually one of the longer ones. We've gone, I guess, 5 minutes over the normal hour. But yeah, I've enjoyed this one. Dan, thank you very much as always for doing this show with us. It is Dan's show, by the way.
No, it's your show too. It's everyone's show. I didn't even come up with a name. Nate came up with a name. So,
all right. Well, it's a show that involves all of us somehow. I don't know how it involves Rihanna though, because I really don't think she cares about statistics. But oh well, guys, thank you very much for watching from myself and Dan. Hope you enjoyed this episode of TACT-EAGLE, and as always, we're looking forward to Saturday, and tomorrow we are doing the Man United preview. So check that out. I believe that's at 7:30. But as always, guys, up the palace.
Up the palace.
Eagles!